project, I decided to do an exploration surreal fantasy stories that go on in our heads at night. More specifically, to decide if they're nonsensical stories that have nothing to do with our waking life, or if they're vital messages sent from some higher power, whatever that may be. And I started my project by keeping a dream journal. Every night before I would go to sleep, I would write down 1 or 2 words that I kind of felt summed up my day. And then I would fall asleep, and whenever I woke up, I would write down whatever I could remember. And sometimes that was a complete plot of a dream. Sometimes that was a specific object or even a feeling. And so I would just write that down. And while I was doing this, I also was doing a lot of research about different cultures' view of dreams, and also key psychiatrists, their view on dreams. And with my own dream journal as data and previous knowledge about their cultures and psychiatrists, I developed my own dream theory. And with that in mind, I created my piece, which is made of frames, and each frame is an individual thing that happened in my dream. Sometimes it's a story, sometimes it's an image. And each can be looked at individually because it has its own meaning by itself. But then I also decided to use frames and put them together because I feel like you need to look at your dreams as a whole to really decide what they're trying to tell you. And I also decided to stack some frames on top of each other because some images I could kind of tell what they meant to me right away, but others I felt like they were on top of layers of subconscious that I really had no idea about, so I decided to stack the frames. And I also have envelopes, which are images or people in dreams that I didn't really want to display, but I felt like they needed to be included in the piece, so I decided to seal them away in envelopes. And the black frames are for, because everyone dreams every night, but I can't always remember them, and so I need to represent those as well. And I don't exactly think I can say my piece is done because I feel like it's going to keep growing whether I make more frames or not. And I'm definitely planning on continuing to look at my dreams after I leave Oxbow. Thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Questions?
What was your dream theory that you developed?
I think it's more of a mix between like nonsensical stories that really don't make sense, your mind organizing things, and so a lot of the time I feel like dreams are just there to organize thoughts, but then I definitely think some dreams need to be looked into, and so I looked into all of them and pulled out messages that I felt were really relevant in my life. And there's like a few things I discovered, one being kind of pushing away everything that was at home and kind of pretending it wasn't here while I was at Oxbow because I was so submerged in what was going on here. And I noticed that in my dreams, that there was anxiety about going home and dealing with everything that I've kind of forgotten about.
All those chores.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite dream? Why is your favorite dream?
My favorite dream and my favorite frame, I think, are a little bit different. I'd say possibly the tea bags, because I don't really remember anything about the dream except I was walking through a house where there was tea bags nailed to the walls, and I remember just walking through and brushing my hands against all of them, and I was by myself, and that was all I remember from the dream, but I just remember it being really calming, and I was having a lot of fun just walking by. Yes?
What does like the one that has all the writing on it, are those past memories that were brought back in the dream?
Those were actually some of the first dreams that I wrote down in my dream journal, and as you can tell, I wanted to write them down, and so when you first look at it, it looks like something legible that everyone could read, because they're obviously letters, but when you come up to it and you start reading it, it doesn't really make sense to everyone else, except when I read it, I know exactly what it's talking about. I can vividly remember each individual story, and so I kind of wanted, that's more of a personal thing, so the piece would be different for me looking at that as opposed to everyone else.
What's the worst dream?
The one in the envelope. In one of the envelopes. Yeah.
Very good, Diane.
Okay, so the next student is going to be Diego. His piece is right